Hello brick sculptors and welcome back to Brick Sculpt. This is Chris and I have an exciting new piece video for you today. That's right, today we're talking about piece 65578. 65578 has quickly become one of my favorite LEGO pieces. This was released in 2020. It is still current today. If you're looking for these on Bricklink, they refer to it as bar 1L with angled hollow stud. If you're looking for it on Brick Owl, they call it bar 1 with angled stud. These are also often called minifig posing stands, and I believe that's because these clear ones first came out for posing minifigs, jumping or running or off the ground in some way. This piece is only available in, I believe, 9 colors. I personally own 5 of them. And no matter what nickname you give it, I call this piece awesome. I absolutely love this piece. I think this piece is a total game changer, and I couldn't imagine the world without it. Just kidding. Now, my favorite thing about this piece is the fact that it sits at an angle. It's a bar with one length, and it has an angled stud on the end. You have 2 connection types. You have a stud on one side, bar on the other. And that angle is what really makes this piece valuable, because there's so many different applications you can do with it. Now, LEGO has lots of different ways to angle parts, but unfortunately, it usually adds bulk to your build. For example, angling with a hinge like this makes for a quite large piece compared to this. Same with a hinge like this. You can definitely get a little bit smaller if you use bars and clips, like this one here, or maybe this one here. And these are all adjustable, which is a nice benefit, but none of them compare to the size of this. So if you're trying to build small detail, this piece works way better, as long as you can deal with a fixed angle. So I'm going to show you guys a few different techniques that I like to do with this piece, and there's lots of different things I use this for, but I'm going to show you 3 of my favorite. And then, because I like to learn too, I will likely do a follow-up video on this, and so I'd like to hear your guys' recommendations and what you like to do with it, so we can both learn some things. The first application I like to do with this piece is build it into a wall. So these make fantastic spigots or shower heads. They also make awesome security lights. You can angle them in all different ways and make them look like they're spreading out across a bigger area. And just put 1 by 1 clear round pieces on the end. Now, as far as these spigots here, you can add detail on these. This one here is built into a backwards headlight brick, and this one is just stuck into a 1 by 1 snot piece. But we can add detail, like maybe put a larger faucet head on here, or maybe a different shape, like this one. That looks pretty good. Or maybe we can do something smaller, like one of these bottle topper pieces. That looks really nice. So lots you can do with that, and I think that's a great technique for this piece. Another great technique to do with this piece is to combine it with Travis bricks. Travis bricks are so handy, and these pieces are almost meant to go together. It's a great way to get angled pieces on all 4 sides. And there's a lot of things you could build with this, but I'm going to show you my favorite. Now, I picked green because I like to use this in trees. Obviously, the Travis brick is not the right color. Honestly, I'm low on Travis bricks, so white is what I had. So you probably wouldn't use that in a tree build. You're not going to see it much, but preferably be black or brown. But we can just attach leaf pieces on here like this. Now, if you watch my videos, you know I like to take these reddish-brown little branch pieces and pin them together. And that makes them really strong so they don't fall apart. I did a whole video on that. I'll link it at the end of the video. But one of my favorite techniques, it just gives so much added strength to plants. It makes them a lot more durable. Because there's nothing worse than building a really detailed tree, and then someone comes along and has to touch it, and the whole thing falls apart. And the person who touches it is usually me. But yeah, it's annoying. Once it's all pinned together there, you have a nice start of a cone-shaped tree. And this is the exact same technique I use in my ultimate pine tree build. I just have layers of these coming up. I get shorter and shorter branch pieces. I do switch techniques at the top, but this is how I build it. The last thing I like to do with these, I like to build furniture. These pieces make fantastic furniture legs. Here's a little chaise lounge I've got. with 4 of these light gray pieces on the bottom facing outward. It's just got a really detailed look to it. I also did a small table here with some charcuterie on top. Or maybe a little bench covered in money. Or you could even do a really tiny little stool. Now, one drawback to doing this method is there's no way to attach these with the legs. So I'll show you how I do this when I put it in my own MOCs. The easiest way, although not the best way, is just to use a 1x1 brick in preferably clear and stick that somewhere on the underside and then just stick it down. And that will work in most situations. This is definitely going to float a little bit. The legs do not hit flush when you do this method, but for the most part, it works pretty well. And that's what I do most of the time in my Lego City. One of the problems with doing a smaller bench like this, that's not an option. So this is going to float around, which may or may not work for you. So you might not want to do these little stools, but if it doesn't matter if it moves, this works great. Now with our chaise lounge, I'm going to show you a way if you want to make this absolutely flush and actually fit to the ground, there is a method you can do. And I do it like this. I have a clear headlight brick and a 1x1 hanging downward bracket. And this is going to make the height exactly 2.5 plates, which is the height of these legs. So I can get this to stick nice and flush on here and be all the way on the ground. Although it does take up a little bit more space underneath, you might use either of these methods. There you go, Rick. So here's the fun part. I've shown you my favorite methods, and there's tons of different things you can do with this piece. So now it's your turn. Let me know in the comments what you like to do with these pieces and your favorite ways to use them. And maybe if you know any other fun facts about it that I might not have mentioned. And if I like your idea and it resonates with me, you might just see it in a follow-up video. Well, that's all I have for this one. I hope you guys like this video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and do more just like this in the future. And we will see you next time.